Let's practice English conversation.
風邪が治るまでには時間がかかりそうです。
It'll take me a long time to get over my cold. It'll take me a long time to get over my cold.
ジョギングが人気の運動になってきました。
Jogging has become the favorite form of exercise. Jogging has become the favorite form of exercise.
このリストの中からあなたの旅行に必要なものを選んでください。
Choose from this list the things you'll need on your trip. Choose from this list the things you'll need on your trip.
なぜ私のことを知っているかのような目で見ているのでしょうか。
Why is he looking at me as though he knows me? Why is he looking at me as though he knows me?
これはずっと欲しかったものですか？
Is this what you've wanted for a long time? Is this what you've wanted for a long time?
彼に会うたびに彼はニコニコしています。
Every time I see him, he is smiling. Every time I see him, he is smiling.
雨の後、太陽が雲から現れました。
After the rain, the sun emerged from the clouds. After the rain, the sun emerged from the clouds.
痩せるためのいい運動になります。
This is a good exercise to help you lose weight. This is a good exercise to help you lose weight.
母親は娘にそれを自分でするように言いました。
The mother told her daughter to do it herself. The mother told her daughter to do it herself.
彼は賢いかもしれませんが、ケアレスミスをすることが多いです。
He may be clever, but he often makes careless mistakes. He may be clever, but he often makes careless mistakes.
テーブルの上に猫の足跡があります。
There are footprints of a cat on the table. There are footprints of a cat on the table.
お茶でも飲みに来ませんか？
Won't you come in for a cup of tea? Won't you come in for a cup of tea?
オートバイを修理してもらったらどうですか？
Why don't you have your motorcycle fixed up? Why don't you have your motorcycle fixed up?
深く感動すること間違いなしの映画です。
You are certain to be moved deeply by the movie. You are certain to be moved deeply by the movie.
工場ではすべての設備が最新のものになっていました。
In the factory, all the equipment was up to date. In the factory, all the equipment was up to date.
郵便局はここから5キロほど離れたところにあります。
The post office is a good 5 kilometers away from here. The post office is a good 5 kilometers away from here.
駅まで一緒に行きます。
I will go along with you as far as the station. I will go along with you as far as the station.
ラッシュ時のバスはもっと多いはずです。
There ought to be more buses during the rush hours. There ought to be more buses during the rush hours.
ボブは芝刈りに1時間10ドルを請求しました。
Bob charged $10 an hour for mowing lawns. Bob charged $10 an hour for mowing lawns.
バスがなかったので私は歩かなければならなかったです。
Since there was no bus, I had to walk. Since there was no bus, I had to walk.
この写真をしばらくまっすぐにしておいてくれませんか？
Could you hold this picture straight for a while? Could you hold this picture straight for a while?
休みを利用して芝生を借りましょう。
Let's take advantage of the vacation to mow the lawn. Let's take advantage of the vacation to mow the lawn.
駅に到着して友人に電話をしました。
On arriving at the station, I called a friend of mine. On arriving at the station, I called a friend of mine.
マッコウクジラは水深1000メートルまで潜ることができます。
The sperm whale can dive to a depth of 1,000 meters. The sperm whale can dive to a depth of 1,000 meters.
すぐにかかりつけの医者に診てもらった方がいいですよ。
You'd better go to see your family doctor at once. You'd better go to see your family doctor at once.
その単語を自分で辞書で調べてください。
Look the word up for yourself in the dictionary. Look the word up for yourself in the dictionary.
少女は犬の姿を見て泣き出しました。
The girl began to cry at the sight of a dog. The girl began to cry at the sight of a dog.
鏡の破片が床に散乱していた。
Fragments of the mirror were scattered on the floor. Fragments of the mirror were scattered on the floor.
私はあなたに何度も何度もそうしないように警告したはずです。
I've warned you over and over again not to do it. I've warned you over and over again not to do it.
私にとってその質問に答えるのは難しいです。
It is difficult for me to answer the question. It is difficult for me to answer the question.
仕事が終わりました。外に出ましょう。
I'm through with my work. Let's go out. I'm through with my work. Let's go out.
駅に着くと、すでに電車は出発していました。
Arriving at the station, I found the train had already left. Arriving at the station, I found the train had already left.
彼はそのことをすべて知っているように見えました。
He looked as if he knew all about it. He looked as if he knew all about it.
遠くに島が見えます。
We can see the island in the distance. We can see the island in the distance.
この町に来て10年が経ちました。
It's been 10 years since I came to this town. It's been 10 years since I came to this town.
マイクはたまたま学校を休んでいました。
Mike happened to have been absent from school. Mike happened to have been absent from school.
これは私が長い間探していたものです。
This is just what I have been looking for so long. This is just what I have been looking for so long.
すべての学生がそのクラスに出席していたわけではなかったです。
Not all the students were present at the class. Not all the students were present at the class.
どこかに行くなら、まずお母さんに言った方がいいですよ。
If you go anywhere, you had better tell your mother first. If you go anywhere, you had better tell your mother first.
この通りに車を駐車してはいけません。
You must not park the car in this street. You must not park the car in this street.
気になる方は一緒に来てください。
If you care to, you may come with us. If you care to, you may come with us.
あなたが話していた女性は私の妹です。
The woman to whom you were talking is my sister. The woman to whom you were talking is my sister.
物を買う前に相談するのはいいことです。
It's good to talk things over before you buy something. It's good to talk things over before you buy something.
ポケットに何を持っているか見せてください。
Show me what you have in your pocket. Show me what you have in your pocket.
駅の外で昔からの友人に遭遇しました。
I ran into an old friend of mine outside the station. I ran into an old friend of mine outside the station.
焦っているとそういうことが起こります。
That sort of thing can happen when you are in haste. That sort of thing can happen when you are in haste.
たまにしか使っていませんでした。
It was used only from time to time. It was used only from time to time.
あなたの年齢なら私もそう思います。
At your age, I would think so too. At your age, I would think so too.
ジョンは真夜中前に寝たことがほとんどありません。
John has hardly ever gone to bed before midnight. John has hardly ever gone to bed before midnight.
シカゴの人口はワシントンの人口よりも多いです。
The population of Chicago is larger than that of Washington. The population of Chicago is larger than that of Washington.
もし彼女が日本に来ることになったら、ジェーンはとても喜ぶでしょう。
If she should come to Japan, Jane would be very happy. If she should come to Japan, Jane would be very happy.
いずれにしても、あなたには関係ありません。
In any case, it's no business of yours. In any case, it's no business of yours.
話す前によく考えてください。
You should think before you begin to speak. You should think before you begin to speak.
その話は長い年月を経て伝わりました。
The story has come down through many years. The story has come down through many years.
しかし、今では多くの若者が彼女を見習っています。
But today, a lot of young people are following her example. But today, a lot of young people are following her example.
ゆりかごで寝ているかわいい赤ちゃんを見てください。
Look at the cute little baby sleeping in the cradle. Look at the cute little baby sleeping in the cradle.
このジーンズはきつすぎる気がします。別のサイズを試着してもいいですか？
These jeans feel too tight. May I try on another size? These jeans feel too tight. May I try on another size?
その木の枝に何羽かの鳥が止まっています。
Some birds are sitting on the branch of that tree. Some birds are sitting on the branch of that tree.
一体どうしてそんな名前をつけたの？
Why on earth did you give him such a name? Why on earth did you give him such a name?
家の中ではどこにいても勉強できません。騒がしいので。
I can't study anywhere in my house. It's too noisy. I can't study anywhere in my house. It's too noisy.
これは私が自分で選んだ仕事です。
This is the job of my own choice. This is the job of my own choice.
彼は試験に合格して嬉しかったです。
He was happy to have passed the examination. He was happy to have passed the examination.
こちらは上に12本のキャンドルを乗せたバースデーケーキです。
This is a birthday cake with 12 candles on top. This is a birthday cake with 12 candles on top.
お友達が申請書を送ってくれるといいですね。
I hope your friend sends in an application. I hope your friend sends in an application.
私はその問題のこの部分をよく知りません。
I'm not familiar with this part of the subject. I'm not familiar with this part of the subject.
ハイキングには秋が一番です。
Autumn is the best season for going on hikes. Autumn is the best season for going on hikes.
自分の家を愛さない人はいません。
There is no man but loves his home. There is no man but loves his home.
このバスはヒルトンホテルに行きますか？
Does this bus go to the Hilton Hotel? Does this bus go to the Hilton Hotel?
なんとか収支をやりくりできるといいのですが。
I hope I can manage to make both ends meet. I hope I can manage to make both ends meet.
ちょっとお話ししてもいいですか？
May I talk with you for a moment? May I talk with you for a moment?
雨が降っていたので、海辺にはほとんどいなかったです。
Few were at the seaside because it was raining. Few were at the seaside because it was raining.
私たちは生きている限り働かなければなりません。
We must work as long as we live. We must work as long as we live.
この鍋の取っ手は持ちやすいです。
The handle of this pan is easy to hold. The handle of this pan is easy to hold.
メアリーは自分が見た事故について触れなかったです。
Mary didn't refer to the accident she had seen. Mary didn't refer to the accident she had seen.
自分の考えを現実と一致させるべきです。
You should make your ideas correspond with reality. You should make your ideas correspond with reality.
医師はこの病気に効く薬を探しています。
The doctor is looking for medicine that is effective for this illness. The doctor is looking for medicine that is effective for this illness.
その家族はみんな自分の車を持っています。
Everybody in that family has a car of their own. Everybody in that family has a car of their own.
雨が降らないか心配だと言っていました。
He said that he was afraid it would be rainy. He said that he was afraid it would be rainy.
靴底にガムが付着していました。
The gum adhered to the sole of the shoe. The gum adhered to the sole of the shoe.
ジューシーな桃をかじった時の美味しさがたまらないです。
I love the taste when I bite into a juicy peach. I love the taste when I bite into a juicy peach.
この擦り切れたカーペットを処分しなくてはならないでしょう。
I will have to get rid of this worn-out carpet. I will have to get rid of this worn-out carpet.
これはまさに私がずっと欲しかったカメラです。
This is the very camera I've wanted for a long time. This is the very camera I've wanted for a long time.
何がきっかけで気持ちが変わったのでしょうか。
What was it that caused you to change your mind? What was it that caused you to change your mind?
英語は世界の多くの地域で話されています。
English is spoken in many parts of the world. English is spoken in many parts of the world.
その光景は私の記憶にはっきりと刻み込まれました。
The scene was clearly printed in my memory. The scene was clearly printed in my memory.
図書館にはたくさんの学生がいます。
There are a lot of students in the library. There are a lot of students in the library.
ホテルならすぐそこですよ。
If you want a hotel, look, it's just down there. If you want a hotel, look, it's just down there.
私はその計画について父に相談しました。
I consulted with my father about the plan. I consulted with my father about the plan.
いつかは節約の大切さに気づく日が来るでしょう。
Someday you will come to realize the importance of saving. Someday you will come to realize the importance of saving.
ターミナルに到着するまでお席をお立ちにならないでください。
Please stay seated until we reach the terminal. Please stay seated until we reach the terminal.
何かうまくいかないことがあれば、私がその結果に責任を負います。
If anything goes wrong, I'll answer for the consequences. If anything goes wrong, I'll answer for the consequences.
カールは靴屋の外で立ち止まり、窓を見ました。
Carl stopped outside a shoe shop and looked in the window. Carl stopped outside a shoe shop and looked in the window.
雨に降られて濡れました。
I was caught in the rain and got wet. I was caught in the rain and got wet.
何が起こったのか自分で確かめてきてください。
Go and see for yourself what has happened. Go and see for yourself what has happened.
言わずに置いておいた方が賢明だったでしょう。
It would have been wiser to leave it unsaid. It would have been wiser to leave it unsaid.
40年以上も平和を謳歌してきました。
We have enjoyed peace for more than 40 years. We have enjoyed peace for more than 40 years.
またチャンスを与えられれば彼は頑張るでしょう。
Should he be given another chance, he would do his best. Should he be given another chance, he would do his best.
あなたがすべてを知っているのは当然だと思っていました。
I took it for granted that you knew the whole matter. I took it for granted that you knew the whole matter.
お力になっていただけるととても嬉しいです。
If you will help us, we will be very glad. If you will help us, we will be very glad.
これは私が今までに見た中で最悪の映画です。
This is the worst movie I have ever seen. This is the worst movie I have ever seen.
あなたは私の息子の宿題を手伝う必要はなかったのに。
You need not have helped my son with his homework. You need not have helped my son with his homework.
この事実については秘密にしておかなければなりません。
I must keep a secret with regard to the fact. I must keep a secret with regard to the fact.
彼女は英語を書くとき、めったに間違いをしません。
When writing English, she rarely makes a mistake. When writing English, she rarely makes a mistake.
この件についてどう思いますか？
What's your opinion with regard to this matter? What's your opinion with regard to this matter?
その建物は街全体を見下ろしています。
The building looks down on the whole town. The building looks down on the whole town.
私はその計画を支持しないことに決めました。
I have decided not to support the plan. I have decided not to support the plan.
少々お待ちください。まだ決めていません。
Just a moment. I haven't made up my mind. Just a moment. I haven't made up my mind.
彼は背が高くてハンサムな青年です。
He is a tall and handsome young man. He is a tall and handsome young man.
あなたがそう言うのももっともですが、私は同意できません。
You may well say so, but I cannot agree. You may well say so, but I cannot agree.
彼はあの男のために働くくらいなら死んだ方がましです。
He would sooner rather die than work for that man. He would sooner rather die than work for that man.
これは彼らの仕事のチェックになるでしょう。
This will serve as a check on their work. This will serve as a check on their work.
ホテルの前まで車で迎えに来てください。
Please pick me up by car in front of the hotel. Please pick me up by car in front of the hotel.
その候補者は会う人には誰にでも手を振りました。
It waved his hand to whomever he saw. It waved his hand to whomever he saw.
とにかく私は明日までにこの仕事を終えなければなりません。
At any rate, I must finish this work by tomorrow. At any rate, I must finish this work by tomorrow.
近い将来、火星に行けるでしょうか？
Can we get to Mars in the near future? Can we get to Mars in the near future?
そこに着いたら教えてください。
Please let me know when we get there. Please let me know when we get there.
すぐに対処しなければなりません。
We need to take care of this immediately. We need to take care of this immediately.
これは私が先週撮った写真です。
This is a picture I took last week. This is a picture I took last week.
私たちの学校の制服とは違います。
Are different from those of our school. Are different from those of our school.
母が病気なので今日は父が料理をします。
Because my mother is sick, my father will cook today. Because my mother is sick, my father will cook today.
アフリカは大陸ですが、グリーンランドは違います。
Africa is a continent, but Greenland is not. Africa is a continent, but Greenland is not.
お腹に痛みはありませんか？
Do you feel any pain in your stomach? Do you feel any pain in your stomach?
駅で昔からの友人に会いました。
I met with an old friend of mine at the station. I met with an old friend of mine at the station.
急なことだとは思っていましたが、これは大事なチャンスです。
I knew it's sudden, but this is an important opportunity. I knew it's sudden, but this is an important opportunity.
この英語の問題は決して優しいものではないです。
This question in English is anything but easy. This question in English is anything but easy.
頑張っても一日では無理です。
Try as you may, you can't do it in a day. Try as you may, you can't do it in a day.
教育の重要性はいくら強調してもしすぎることはありません。
It is impossible to exaggerate the importance of education. It is impossible to exaggerate the importance of education.
4泊で一番安い部屋がいいですね。
I'd like the most inexpensive room you have for 4 nights. I'd like the most inexpensive room you have for 4 nights.
この4年間お会いしていませんでした。
We haven't seen you in the past 4 years. We haven't seen you in the past 4 years.
アイスクリームのコーンをもう1個食べたいと思います。
I think I will have one more ice cream cone. I think I will have one more ice cream cone.
その映画は面白いと言われています。
They say that the movie is an interesting one. They say that the movie is an interesting one.
クジラは昔、陸に住んでいたと言われています。
Whales are said to have lived on land long ago. Whales are said to have lived on land long ago.
外出するよりむしろ家にいたいです。
I would rather stay at home than go out. I would rather stay at home than go out.
この手の雑誌は若者に害を与える可能性があります。
This kind of magazine can do harm to young people. This kind of magazine can do harm to young people.
その役人は建設会社から賄賂を受け取った疑いをかけられました。
The official was suspected of accepting bribes from the construction companies. The official was suspected of accepting bribes from the construction companies.
ミシガンより優れた医学部を選ぶことはできません。
You couldn't pick a finer medical school than Michigan. You couldn't pick a finer medical school than Michigan.
遠くのものが望遠鏡で見えます。
We can see distant objects with a telescope. We can see distant objects with a telescope.
ジムは十分な努力をしていなかったので、試験に落ちてしまいました。
Jim didn't work hard enough, so he failed the exam. Jim didn't work hard enough, so he failed the exam.
その本を元あった場所に戻してください。
Put the book back where you found it. Put the book back where you found it.
私はあなたに賛成だとしか言えません。
I can only say that I agree with you. I can only say that I agree with you.
ボブが来たら会議を始めましょう。
We will begin the meeting when Bob comes. We will begin the meeting when Bob comes.
あの気難しい人たちとどうやって仲良くしたらいいのかわかりません。
I don't know how to get along with those difficult people. I don't know how to get along with those difficult people.
その工場はバイクを月に800台生産します。
The factory turns out 800 motorcycles a month. The factory turns out 800 motorcycles a month.
その作業は今週いっぱいで終わります。
That work will be finished at the end of this week. That work will be finished at the end of this week.
先に電話で予約しておくべきでした。
We ought to have phoned ahead and reserved a table. We ought to have phoned ahead and reserved a table.
教育は人生の中で最も重要なものの一つです。
Education is one of the most essential aspects of life. Education is one of the most essential aspects of life.
奇妙な話ですが、その言葉はすべて真実です。
It's a strange story, but every word of it is true. It's a strange story, but every word of it is true.
彼は通りの端に車を駐車しました。
The end of the street. The end of the street.
その仕事を一日で終えるのは難しいです。
It is difficult to finish the work in a day. It is difficult to finish the work in a day.
なぜコンサートに来られなかったのですか？
What prevented you from coming to the concert? What prevented you from coming to the concert?
おじは私たちに新しいテレビを持ってきてくれました。
My uncle brought a new TV set for us. My uncle brought a new TV set for us.
ここは彼女が秘書として働いている場所です。
This is the place where she works as a secretary. This is the place where she works as a secretary.
私たちの英語の先生は教室では英語しか使いません。
Our English teacher only uses English in our classroom. Our English teacher only uses English in our classroom.
その家の買い手がまだ見つかっていないそうです。
They still haven't found a buyer for that house. They still haven't found a buyer for that house.
ワイングラスには気をつけなければなりません。
You must be careful with the wine glass. You must be careful with the wine glass.
もっと勇気があれば、メアリーにプロポーズできたかもしれません。
With more courage, I might have proposed to Mary. With more courage, I might have proposed to Mary.
帰ったら電話をください。
Give me a telephone call when you get back. Give me a telephone call when you get back.
あなたは彼の言うことにもっと注意を払うべきです。
You should pay more attention to what he says. You should pay more attention to what he says.
リストに戻してほしいです。
I'd like you to put me back on the list. I'd like you to put me back on the list.
あのビルの上からの眺めは素晴らしかったです。
The view from the top of that building was magnificent. The view from the top of that building was magnificent.
この犬は山の中で人を救うために訓練されています。
This dog is trained to save people in the mountains. This dog is trained to save people in the mountains.
勤勉さが成功の鍵であることは言うまでもありません。
It goes without saying that diligence is the key to success. It goes without saying that diligence is the key to success.
マイクの家での仕事は窓をきれいにすることです。
Mike's job at home is cleaning the windows. Mike's job at home is cleaning the windows.
彼は私の数倍本を持っています。
He has several times as many books as I. He has several times as many books as I.
女性の葬儀は地元の教会で行われました。
The lady's funeral was held at the local church. The lady's funeral was held at the local church.
木の下で眠るのは気持ちがいいです。
It is pleasant to sleep under the tree. It is pleasant to sleep under the tree.
ダンスに関して言えば、マイケル・ジャクソンのように動ける人はいません。
When it comes to dancing, nobody can move like Michael Jackson. When it comes to dancing, nobody can move like Michael Jackson.
ケンは早起きすることをルールにしています。
Ken makes it a rule to get up early. Ken makes it a rule to get up early.
本当にこの電車でいいのですか？
Are you sure this is the right train? Are you sure this is the right train?
この本は難しすぎて私には理解できません。
This book is too difficult for me to understand. This book is too difficult for me to understand.
そんなに早く歩かないでください。あなたについていけません。
Don't walk so fast. I can't keep up with you. Don't walk so fast. I can't keep up with you.
チーズとアップルパイを食べたことがありますか？
Have you ever had cheese with apple pie? Have you ever had cheese with apple pie?
勇敢な消防士が燃える家から少年を救出しました。
The brave fireman rescued a boy from the burning house. The brave fireman rescued a boy from the burning house.
学べば学ぶほど自分の無知に気づくことができます。
The more we learn, the better we realize our ignorance. The more we learn, the better we realize our ignorance.
去年の冬は雪が多かったです。
We had a good deal of snow last winter. We had a good deal of snow last winter.
ファッションの勉強のためにニューヨークに行くつもりなんだそうです。
She's intent on going to New York to study fashion. She's intent on going to New York to study fashion.
医者の言うことを聞いていれば死なずに済んだかもしれません。
Had he taken his doctor's advice, he might not have died. Had he taken his doctor's advice, he might not have died.
その質問は彼女には簡単すぎて答えられない。
The question is too easy for her to answer. The question is too easy for her to answer.
私はその店でカメラを修理してもらいました。
I had my camera repaired at that shop. I had my camera repaired at that shop.
この囲いの中にはたくさんの種類の動物がいます。
There are many kinds of animals inside this enclosure. There are many kinds of animals inside this enclosure.
彼は何時間も働いてクタクタでした。
He was worn out after hours of work. He was worn out after hours of work.
こちらのアンケートにご記入の上送信してください。
Please fill out this questionnaire and send it to us. Please fill out this questionnaire and send it to us.
少女は困難の山を越えつつあります。
The girl is getting over mountains of difficulties. The girl is getting over mountains of difficulties.
ここから駅まで2マイルあります。
It's 2 miles from here to the station. It's 2 miles from here to the station.
空には数えきれないほどの星があります。
There are more stars in the sky than I can count. There are more stars in the sky than I can count.
教師は時折、生徒たちに息抜きをさせるべきです。
Teachers should occasionally let their students blow off some steam. Teachers should occasionally let their students blow off some steam.
時間になったら忘れずに知らせてください。
Don't forget to let me know when it's time. Don't forget to let me know when it's time.
それ以来、彼は魂を込めて仕事をしていた。
Since then, he had put his whole soul into his work. Since then, he had put his whole soul into his work.
どんなことがあっても、私は自分の義務を果たします。
No matter what may come, I will do my duty. No matter what may come, I will do my duty.
すみませんが、その箱を持ち上げてもらえませんか？
Excuse me, but would you kindly lift that box for me? Excuse me, but would you kindly lift that box for me?
このデータを最終チェックしてもらえますか？
Could you give this data a final check for me? Could you give this data a final check for me?
これらの問題は近い将来解決されるでしょう。
These problems will be solved in the near future. These problems will be solved in the near future.
交通事故の数は近年増加しています。
The number of traffic accidents has increased in recent years. The number of traffic accidents has increased in recent years.
見送ってくれて嬉しいです。
It's nice of you to see me off. It's nice of you to see me off.
この英語の本は難しすぎて私には読めません。
This English book is too difficult for me to read. This English book is too difficult for me to read.
少年は校則を守れませんでした。
The boy could not live up to the school rules. The boy could not live up to the school rules.
自分の答えが正しいか間違っているかは関係ありません。
It doesn't matter whether your answer is right or wrong. It doesn't matter whether your answer is right or wrong.
本当にお世話になりました。
I really appreciate all the trouble you've gone to. I really appreciate all the trouble you've gone to.
作家さんが来月新刊を出します。
The writer is bringing out a new book next month. The writer is bringing out a new book next month.
外国ではほとんどの人がカルチャーショックを経験します。
In a foreign country, most of us go through culture shock. In a foreign country, most of us go through culture shock.
夢があれば追いかけましょう。
If there's a dream, let's run after it. If there's a dream, let's run after it.
日曜以外の曜日に勤務しています。
We work on every day of the week except Sunday. We work on every day of the week except Sunday.
この船は大きすぎて運河を通れません。
This ship is too big to pass through the canal. This ship is too big to pass through the canal.
おばさんは私に美味しいコーヒーの入れ方を教えてくれました。
My aunt showed me how to make good coffee. My aunt showed me how to make good coffee.
どうしてそんなバカなことを言ったのですか？
Why did you say such a stupid thing? Why did you say such a stupid thing?
何と言ってよいかわからなかったので、彼女は黙っていました。
Not knowing what to say, she remained silent. Not knowing what to say, she remained silent.
バスは何時に迎えに来ますか？
What time will the bus pick us up? What time will the bus pick us up?
彼女はいわゆる教養のある女性です。
She is what is called a woman of culture. She is what is called a woman of culture.
空き巣は私の両手を背中の後ろにしてロープで縛りました。
The burglar tied my hands behind my back with a rope. The burglar tied my hands behind my back with a rope.
ベッドで寝ている男の子は天使のようです。
A boy sleeping in bed seems to be an angel. A boy sleeping in bed seems to be an angel.
このインクの汚れは落ちないと思います。
I don't think these ink stains will come off. I don't think these ink stains will come off.
この薬は3時間おきに飲んでください。
This medicine should be taken every 3 hours. This medicine should be taken every 3 hours.
私たちの計画では多くのお金が必要になります。
Our plan will call for a lot of money. Our plan will call for a lot of money.
この木はこの森で一番高くて古いです。
This tree is the tallest and oldest in the forest. This tree is the tallest and oldest in the forest.
ウィリアムズ夫妻は両親が亡くなった子供を養子にしました。
Mr. and Mrs. Williams adopted a child whose parents were dead. Mr. and Mrs. Williams adopted a child whose parents were dead.
焦ってやると失敗します。
You make mistakes if you do things in a hurry. You make mistakes if you do things in a hurry.
中にいるにはあまりにもいい天気でした。
It was too nice a day to stay inside. It was too nice a day to stay inside.
リンカーンはアメリカ史の中の最も偉大な人物の一人です。
Lincoln is one of the greatest figures in American history. Lincoln is one of the greatest figures in American history.
その場所は少なくとも一度は訪れる価値があります。
The place is worth visiting at least once. The place is worth visiting at least once.
ボブは喜びで飛び上がるほどの良いニュースを届けてくれました。
Bob brought such good news that they jumped up with joy. Bob brought such good news that they jumped up with joy.
あっという間にお金がなくなってしまいました。
I went through my money in a very short time. I went through my money in a very short time.
心配しないでください。結局は私たちが答えを見つけるから。
Don't worry, we'll find the answer after all. Don't worry, we'll find the answer after all.
洋書や定期刊行物を売っているお店がいくつもあります。
There are a number of shops selling foreign books and periodicals. There are a number of shops selling foreign books and periodicals.
私たちはその事件を全体として研究しなければなりません。
We must study the affair as a whole. We must study the affair as a whole.
ライオンはジャングルの王様です。
The lion is the king of the jungle. The lion is the king of the jungle.
少年も少女のどちらも利口です。
Both the boy and the girl are clever. Both the boy and the girl are clever.
そのような先生は引退した方がいいかもしれません。
Such a teacher may as well retire from his work. Such a teacher may as well retire from his work.
成功するためには努力しなければなりません。
You must work hard if you are to succeed. You must work hard if you are to succeed.
この仕事を明日の2時までに仕上げてもらいたいです。
I want this work completed by 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I want this work completed by 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
むくみがあるかもしれませんが、気にしないでください。
You may have swelling, but don't worry about it. You may have swelling, but don't worry about it.
これは町にガスを供給するパイプラインです。
This is the pipeline which supplies the town with gas. This is the pipeline which supplies the town with gas.
ナンシーはパリばかりでなくロンドンにも行きました。
Nancy went to London as well as Paris. Nancy went to London as well as Paris.
確かにこの車は小さいけど力強いです。
Indeed, this car is small, but it is powerful. Indeed, this car is small, but it is powerful.
渡るは研究に没頭していたようです。
It seems that Wataru devoted himself to his students. It seems that Wataru devoted himself to his students.
早く良くなるといいですね。
I do hope you get well soon. I do hope you get well soon.
この石は重くて持ち上げることができませんでした。
This stone was so heavy that I could not lift it. This stone was so heavy that I could not lift it.
これより安いカメラを見せてくれませんか？
Would you show me a less expensive camera than this one? Would you show me a less expensive camera than this one?
雨が降り出して彼女は濡れました。
It began to rain and she got wet. It began to rain and she got wet.
あなたは町のこちら側で働いていますか？
Are you working on this side of the city? Are you working on this side of the city?
外国人観光客には非課税の特権を与えています。
We give foreign tourists the privilege of tax exemption. We give foreign tourists the privilege of tax exemption.
私たちはテレビの存在を当然のことと思っています。
We take it for granted that television exists. We take it for granted that television exists.
猫は机の上にいます。
The cat is on top of the desk. The cat is on top of the desk.
ストレスの原因として一般的なのは仕事や人間関係です。
Common causes of stress are work and human relationships. Common causes of stress are work and human relationships.
そんなことを一度でもやってしまうと罰を受けてしまいます。
You do such a thing once too often and get punished. You do such a thing once too often and get punished.
モールに行くバスはありますか？
Is there a bus that goes to the mall? Is there a bus that goes to the mall?
私がこんな風に感じるのはおかしいかな？
Do you find it funny that I feel this way? Do you find it funny that I feel this way?
私はその川で泳ぐのは危険だと思います。
I think it's dangerous to swim in that river. I think it's dangerous to swim in that river.
他に何かしてほしいことはありますか？
Is there anything else you want me to do? Is there anything else you want me to do?
明日雨が降ったら野球の試合は延期になります。
If it rains tomorrow, the baseball game will be put off. If it rains tomorrow, the baseball game will be put off.
休日は歴史の本や古典を読んで過ごしたいです。
I'd like to spend my holidays reading history books or classics. I'd like to spend my holidays reading history books or classics.
教授のつまらない講義で眠ってしまいました。
The professor's boring lecture put me to sleep. The professor's boring lecture put me to sleep.
悪天候のため飛行機は3時間遅れて到着しました。
Due to bad weather, the plane arrived 3 hours late. Due to bad weather, the plane arrived 3 hours late.
これは私たちが先週訪れた城です。
This is the castle which we visited last week. This is the castle which we visited last week.
大学時代の思い出が頭に浮かびます。
Memories of my college days come to my mind. Memories of my college days come to my mind.
このエレベーターで10階まで上がります。
This elevator will take you up to the 10th floor. This elevator will take you up to the 10th floor.
科学者が宇宙の構造について講演しました。
The scientist gave a lecture on the structure of the universe. The scientist gave a lecture on the structure of the universe.
もう一人分の空きはありますか？
Is there any space for one more person? Is there any space for one more person?
食べ物が体に栄養を与えるように、読書も心に栄養を与えます。
Just as food feeds the body, so reading feeds the mind. Just as food feeds the body, so reading feeds the mind.
オーストラリアは日本のおよそ20倍の大きさです。
Australia is about 20 times as large as Japan. Australia is about 20 times as large as Japan.
ズボンを買いたいです。
I want to buy a pair of trousers. I want to buy a pair of trousers.
お金が少ないからといって他人を見下す人もいます。
Some people look down on others because they have less money. Some people look down on others because they have less money.
二度と彼に会わない方が賢明ですよ。
It would be wiser of you not to see him again. It would be wiser of you not to see him again.
何時に閉店するか知っていますか？
Do you know what time the shop is closed? Do you know what time the shop is closed?
最新号は来週の月曜日に発売されます。
The latest issue of the magazine will come out next Monday. The latest issue of the magazine will come out next Monday.
あの男の人と友達になりたいですか？
Would you like to make friends with that man? Would you like to make friends with that man?
私のコンピューターは何かの役に立つに違いありません。
My computer has got to be useful for something. My computer has got to be useful for something.
その政治家は結局失脚しました。
The politician lost his position in the end. The politician lost his position in the end.
また、その他の製品を製造されている場合は、情報をお送りください。
Also, if you manufacture any other products, please send information. Also, if you manufacture any other products, please send information.
なぜこの本は若者に愛されているのですか？
Why is this book loved by young people? Why is this book loved by young people?
どうして前もって言ってくれなかったのですか？
Why didn't you tell it to me in advance? Why didn't you tell it to me in advance?
そこから家の屋根を見ることができます。
You can see the roof of the house from there. You can see the roof of the house from there.
ジェーンはこのテーマの権威のようなものです。
Jane is something of an authority on the subject. Jane is something of an authority on the subject.
シンプルな英語で書かれており、読みやすい本です。
Written in simple English, this book is easy to read. Written in simple English, this book is easy to read.
パスポートを取るのに最適な方法は何ですか？
What's the best way for me to get a passport? What's the best way for me to get a passport?
私はその知らせを聞いてとても嬉しかったです。
I was very glad to hear the news. I was very glad to hear the news.
できるだけ早く仕上げます。
I'll finish it as quickly as I can. I'll finish it as quickly as I can.
あんな綺麗なドレスがあったらな。
If only I had a pretty dress like that. If only I had a pretty dress like that.
とりあえず解決できるように頑張ります。
I will try to solve the problem at any rate. I will try to solve the problem at any rate.
柵の高さが足りず、狼を追い出すことができませんでした。
The fence was not high enough to keep the wolves out. The fence was not high enough to keep the wolves out.
マイクは今日お母さんの車を洗わなくてもいいです。
Mike doesn't have to wash his mother's car today. Mike doesn't have to wash his mother's car today.
その女性たちは図書館の前にいます。
The women are in front of a library. The women are in front of a library.
彼女がアイスクリームが食べたくなるほど暑かったそうです。
It was so hot that she felt like eating ice cream. It was so hot that she felt like eating ice cream.
この雨の中、わざわざお越しいただきありがとうございました。
Thank you for coming all the way in this rain. Thank you for coming all the way in this rain.
マイクと私は今日の午後、ハンバーガーを食べて話をしました。
Mike and I had a hamburger this afternoon and we talk. Mike and I had a hamburger this afternoon and we talk.
少し下げてみませんか？
Would you like to turn it down a little? Would you like to turn it down a little?
クリスは彼女にプレゼントを持ってきて勇気を出して渡しました。
Chris bought her a present and bravely gave it to her. Chris bought her a present and bravely gave it to her.
帰ったら彼に会います。
I will see him after I get back. I will see him after I get back.
この2つの意見のうち、私は前者より後者の方が好きです。
Of these two opinions, I prefer the latter to the former. Of these two opinions, I prefer the latter to the former.
ジャックはクラスで一番頭のいい子です。
Jack is the most intelligent boy in the class. Jack is the most intelligent boy in the class.
洪水で村は大きな被害を受けました。
The flood did a lot of damage to the village. The flood did a lot of damage to the village.
アメリカの初代大統領にちなんで名付けられました。
It was named after the first American president. It was named after the first American president.
一両日中にお返事します。
I'll give you an answer in a day or two. I'll give you an answer in a day or two.
すぐに調査しなければなりません。
We must look into the matter at once. We must look into the matter at once.
困っていても、サムはいつも楽観的です。
Even if he is in trouble, Sam is always optimistic. Even if he is in trouble, Sam is always optimistic.
ポップコーンを食べれば食べるほど欲しくなります。
The more popcorn you eat, the more you want. The more popcorn you eat, the more you want.
教会は森と湖に囲まれています。
The church is surrounded by woods and lakes. The church is surrounded by woods and lakes.
何がうまくいかなかったのか正確に突き止める必要があります。
I need to find out exactly what went wrong. I need to find out exactly what went wrong.
そのうちにやり方がわかるようになります。
You'll learn how to do it sooner or later. You'll learn how to do it sooner or later.
空腹時に飲むのは特にいけません。
You should especially not drink on an empty stomach. You should especially not drink on an empty stomach.
輸出の約3分の2を化学品が占めています。
Chemical products account for approximately 2/3 of our exports. Chemical products account for approximately 2/3 of our exports.
私たちはいろいろな方法でコミュニケーションができます。
We can communicate with each other in many ways. We can communicate with each other in many ways.
どの靴を履きますか？
Which shoes are you going to put on? Which shoes are you going to put on?
トムは英語のテストの結果を心配しているようでした。
Tom looked worried about the result of an English test. Tom looked worried about the result of an English test.
このラクダは誰でも乗れるほど飼いならされています。
This camel is so tame that anyone can ride it. This camel is so tame that anyone can ride it.
すみませんが、おっしゃったことが聞き取れませんでした。
I'm sorry, but I didn't catch what you said. I'm sorry, but I didn't catch what you said.
信号機のこちら側で降ろしてください。
Please let me off on this side of that traffic light. Please let me off on this side of that traffic light.
ボールは彼の頭の左側に当たりました。
The ball hit him on the left side of the head. The ball hit him on the left side of the head.
困難な状況をご理解いただければ幸いです。
We hope you will understand the difficult circumstances we're working under. We hope you will understand the difficult circumstances we're working under.
あのテレビ局は24時間体制で放送しています。
That TV station is on the air 24 hours a day. That TV station is on the air 24 hours a day.
それが交渉のベースになることを期待していました。
He hoped it would lead to a basis for negotiation. He hoped it would lead to a basis for negotiation.
そうですね。個人的にはあまり好きではありません。
Well, personally, I don't really care for it. Well, personally, I don't really care for it.
同級生全員が食堂の食事が好きなわけではありません。
Not all my classmates like the food in the cafeteria. Not all my classmates like the food in the cafeteria.
ボブはギターだけでなくフルートも演奏します。
Bob plays not only the guitar but also the flute. Bob plays not only the guitar but also the flute.
あの靴が合うかもしれません。
Perhaps that pair of shoes will fit me. Perhaps that pair of shoes will fit me.
少年はナイフやフォークの扱いがとても上手です。
The boy can handle a knife and fork very well. The boy can handle a knife and fork very well.
どちらを選ぶにしても、それが良いものであることを確認してください。
Whichever you choose, make sure it is a good one. Whichever you choose, make sure it is a good one.
部屋に入ると、彼女はピアノを弾いていました。
Entering the room, I found her playing the piano. Entering the room, I found her playing the piano.
曲線は A 点から B 点まで伸びています。
The curve extends from point A to point B. The curve extends from point A to point B.
新しいデザインは古いものよりずっといいです。
The new designs are much better than the old ones. The new designs are much better than the old ones.
行きたくなければ行く必要はありません。
You don't need to go unless you want to. You don't need to go unless you want to.
12人がマンチェスターの裁判所に出頭することになっています。
12 people are to appear in court in Manchester. 12 people are to appear in court in Manchester.
車がなければタクシーで来てくれます。
If they don't have a car, they'll come by taxi. If they don't have a car, they'll come by taxi.
この紙に書いてくれませんか？
Would you mind writing it down on this piece of paper? Would you mind writing it down on this piece of paper?
このポテトチップスはもっと食べたくなるほど美味しいです。
These potato chips are good enough to make you want more. These potato chips are good enough to make you want more.
マイクがバスを間違えたのは明らかです。
It is clear that Mike took the wrong bus. It is clear that Mike took the wrong bus.
私たちの会社では高度な技術を持った人を必要としています。
Our company needs someone who is at home in advanced technology. Our company needs someone who is at home in advanced technology.
これらの商品は品質よりも量の方が多いです。
These goods are greater in quantity than in quality. These goods are greater in quantity than in quality.
この前ケントに会った時、彼はとても元気でした。
The last time I saw Kent, he was very well. The last time I saw Kent, he was very well.
彼は穏やかで温厚なお年寄りでした。
He was a gentle and mild-mannered old fellow. He was a gentle and mild-mannered old fellow.
早くしないと遅刻しますよ。
Come on, we'll be late if you don't hurry up. Come on, we'll be late if you don't hurry up.
彼は昨日の夕方8時過ぎまで仕事が終わりませんでした。
He didn't finish his work until after 8 yesterday evening. He didn't finish his work until after 8 yesterday evening.
私は彼に何度か会いました。
I saw him at one time or another. I saw him at one time or another.
海外に住むとしたら、私はイギリスに住むでしょう。
If I were to live abroad, I would live in Britain. If I were to live abroad, I would live in Britain.
これが私が探していた鍵です。
This is the key which I have been looking for. This is the key which I have been looking for.
イタリアに来たからには、絶対にナポリを見なければなりません。
Now that you are in Italy, you must absolutely see Naples. Now that you are in Italy, you must absolutely see Naples.
疲れすぎてもう歩けません。
I am too tired to walk anymore. I am too tired to walk anymore.
このチャンスを逃さないように気をつけてください。
Take care not to throw away this chance. Take care not to throw away this chance.
マスコミは彼の私生活に興味を持っています。
The press is interested in his private life. The press is interested in his private life.
銀行の残高は200万ドルになっています。
The balance at the bank stands at $2 million. The balance at the bank stands at $2 million.
連絡の取れる番号はありますか？
Do you have a number where we can contact you? Do you have a number where we can contact you?
自分の人生を振り返ったとき、彼女は深く後悔しました。
She regretted deeply when she looked back on her life. She regretted deeply when she looked back on her life.
その仕事を終えるのはあなたの責任です。
It is up to you to finish the task. It is up to you to finish the task.
あなたはその会合に出席する資格がないです。
You are not entitled to attend the meeting. You are not entitled to attend the meeting.
あなたのお仕事のお手伝いをさせていただくことができて、ただただ嬉しく思います。
I am only too glad to help you with your work. I am only too glad to help you with your work.
ブラブラしているだけでも旅の楽しみになります。
Just wandering around can be a good way to travel. Just wandering around can be a good way to travel.
若い男がチンピラの群れから少女を救いました。
The young man saved the girl from a bunch of hoodlums. the young man saved the girl from a bunch of hoodlums.
彼が来る前に夕食は全部食べてしまっていました。
All the dinner had been eaten before he came. All the dinner had been eaten before he came.
私は規則から誰も除外できません。
I can accept no one from the rules. I can accept no one from the rules.
一晩水に浸した服は重かったです。
The clothes soaked in water overnight were heavy. The clothes soaked in water overnight were heavy.
デッキはかなり寒いです。
It's rather cold out here on the deck. It's rather cold out here on the deck.
君が何と言おうと、私は諦めません。
Whatever you may say, I won't give it up. Whatever you may say, I won't give it up.
このテーブルは私たちのとちょうど同じくらいの大きさです。
This table is just as large as ours. This table is just as large as ours.
アルパカは馬とラクダのように見えます。
An alpaca looks like a horse and a camel. An alpaca looks like a horse and a camel.
とにかく私たちは最善を尽くしました。
At all events, we have done our best. At all events, we have done our best.
この権利はどんな犠牲を払っても守られなければなりません。
This right must be protected at all costs. This right must be protected at all costs.
彼女には少しでも迷惑をかけたくないです。
I don't want to put her to even a small inconvenience. I don't want to put her to even a small inconvenience.
私は何時間も働いて疲れを感じました。
I felt tired from having worked for hours. I felt tired from having worked for hours.
運転手の注意力が足りないのは明らかでした。
It was obvious that the driver had not been careful enough. It was obvious that the driver had not been careful enough.
金曜日が締め切りのプロジェクトに追われています。
I'm tied up with a project that is due Friday. I'm tied up with a project that is due Friday.
行く前にお腹に何か入れておいた方がいいですよ。
You should put something in your stomach before you go. You should put something in your stomach before you go.
ロンドンに住んでいた頃はよく美術館に行っていました。
I would often visit the museum when I lived in London. I would often visit the museum when I lived in London.
その男の子に話しかけている女性はその子の先生です。
The lady that is speaking to that boy is his teacher. The lady that is speaking to that boy is his teacher.
彼は自分の意見をはっきり言うのに苦労することがあります。
Sometimes he has difficulty being articulate about his views. Sometimes he has difficulty being articulate about his views.
ダンス部に入りませんか？
How would you like to join the dance club? How would you like to join the dance club?
あなたの経験不足を補ってあげましょう。
I'll make allowances for your lack of experience. I'll make allowances for your lack of experience.
このメディアには記録できません。
It is not possible to record in this media. It is not possible to record in this media.
彼は入ってきてコーヒーを一杯頼みました。
He came in and asked for a cup of coffee. He came in and asked for a cup of coffee.
その植物はヨーロッパの北から南まで分布しています。
The plant ranges from the north of Europe to the south. The plant ranges from the north of Europe to the south.
学問と常識は別物です。
Learning is one thing, and common sense is another. Learning is one thing, and common sense is another.
息子は机の上の書類をバラバラにしました。
My son disarranged the papers on the desk. My son disarranged the papers on the desk.
この写真を見ると必ず父のことを思い出します。
I never see this picture without thinking of my father. I never see this picture without thinking of my father.
驚いたことにマイクはスピーチコンテストで一等賞を受賞しました。
To everyone's astonishment, Mike won first prize in the speech contest. To everyone's astonishment, Mike won first prize in the speech contest.
また近いうちにお会いできるのを楽しみにしています。
I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon.
酔っ払ってるなら車のハンドルを握らないでください。
If you're drunk, don't take the wheel of a car. If you're drunk, don't take the wheel of a car.
すべてのトラブルが解消されて安心しました。
I felt relieved when all the troubles were taken care of. I felt relieved when all the troubles were taken care of.
私は古き良き時代の話をするのが好きです。
I'd like to talk about the good old days. I'd like to talk about the good old days.
そんな冷静な頭の持ち主が動揺したとは考えにくいです。
It is unlikely that such a cool-headed person got upset. It is unlikely that such a cool-headed person got upset.
もう両親から独立してもいい頃です。
It's about time you were independent of your parents. It's about time you were independent of your parents.
クラブの規則を守らなければなりません。
You must observe the rules of the club. You must observe the rules of the club.
その仕事はとても難しいので、私はやり遂げることができません。
The task is so difficult that I cannot accomplish it. The task is so difficult that I cannot accomplish it.
これが私があなたに同意しない理由です。
This is the reason I disagree with you. This is the reason I disagree with you.
彼らは偉大な芸術家や作曲家にならないかもしれない。
They might not become great artists or composers. They might not become great artists or composers.
少年は人混みの中で母親の姿を見失いました。
The boy lost sight of his mother in the crowd. The boy lost sight of his mother in the crowd.
私の後ろに男と女が座っていました。
There was a man and a woman sitting behind me. There was a man and a woman sitting behind me.
猫は柵の隙間から入っていきました。
The cat went through a gap in the fence. The cat went through a gap in the fence.
私たちはこのプロジェクトがすぐに実行されることを要求します。
We insist that this project be carried out immediately. We insist that this project be carried out immediately.
どちらかといえば、新しい仕事の方が前の仕事よりも大変です。
If anything, my new job is harder than my old one. If anything, my new job is harder than my old one.
パリにいらしたらご案内します。
When you come to Paris, I'll show you around. When you come to Paris, I'll show you around.
ブライアンはシャツの代わりにジャケットを買いました。
Instead of a shirt, Brian brought a jacket. Instead of a shirt, Brian brought a jacket.
この工場は1日に200台の車を生産することができます。
This factory can turn out 200 cars a day. This factory can turn out 200 cars a day.
坂道を駆け上がった後は完全に息切れしていました。
After running up the hill, I was completely out of breath. After running up the hill, I was completely out of breath.
私の手紙のコピーを送ります。
I am sending a copy of my letter to you. I am sending a copy of my letter to you.
そのコーヒーは私の口に合わなかったです。
The coffee was not much to my liking. The coffee was not much to my liking.
彼女が彼と踊っているのをいつ見ましたか？
When did you see her dancing with him? When did you see her dancing with him?
そのトランクは重すぎて彼は管理できなかったです。
The trunk was too heavy for him to manage. The trunk was too heavy for him to manage.
別のウェイターは私が間違って開けた瓶を隠しました。
The other waiter hid the bottle I'd opened wrongly. The other waiter hid the bottle I'd opened wrongly.
オーケストラについてのあなたの話を聞かずにはいられませんでした。
I couldn't help overhearing what you said about an orchestra. I couldn't help overhearing what you said about an orchestra.
駅まで乗せて行ってくれませんか？
Can you give me a ride to the station? Can you give me a ride to the station?
エベレスト山は海抜29002フィートです。
Mount Everest is 29,002 feet above sea level. Mount Everest is 29,002 feet above sea level.
私たちは数分後に離陸します。
We will take off in a few minutes. We will take off in a few minutes.
医者は患者に十分な休息を取るよう主張しました。
The doctor insisted that the patient get plenty of rest. The doctor insisted that the patient get plenty of rest.
ビルだけでなく、スティーブもパソコンに夢中です。
Not only Bill, but also Steve is crazy about computers. Not only Bill, but also Steve is crazy about computers.
その計画に変わるものはありますか？
Do you have any alternatives to the plan? Do you have any alternatives to the plan?
レストランで歓迎会が開かれました。
A welcome party took place in the restaurant. A welcome party took place in the restaurant.
この大きな国で何が起きているか見てみましょう。
Let's see what's happening in this big country. Let's see what's happening in this big country.
この新しいカーテンはラグとの相性が悪いです。
These new curtains don't go well with the rugs. These new curtains don't go well with the rugs.
あの先生は3年生のクラスを担当しています。
That teacher is in charge of the third-year class. That teacher is in charge of the third-year class.
その計画は費用を別にすれば良いものでした。
The plan was a good one apart from its cost. The plan was a good one apart from its cost.
あの店は輸入品をたくさん売っています。
That store sells a lot of imported goods. That store sells a lot of imported goods.
私は家にいるより外出する方が好きです。
I prefer going out to staying at home. I prefer going out to staying at home.
考えてみてください。あなたは地球の裏側にいるんですよ。
And just think, you're on the other side of the world. And just think, you're on the other side of the world.
会社に行く途中で財布を盗まれてしまいました。
I had my wallet stolen on my way to the office. I had my wallet stolen on my way to the office.
彼女は男がついてくるのに気づいて怖くなりました。
She became scared when she noticed the man following her. She became scared when she noticed the man following her.
そのベッドは場所を取ります。
The bed takes up a lot of room. The bed takes up a lot of room.
これは彼の家で撮った写真です。
This is the picture I took in his house. This is the picture I took in his house.
私たちは彼の借金の支払いを求めました。
We asked for the payment of his debt. We asked for the payment of his debt.
いつもはこのサービスステーションで車にガソリンを入れています。
I usually gas up the car at this service station. I usually gas up the car at this service station.
スミス博士はその分野で最も知識のある専門家です。
Dr. Smith is the most knowledgeable expert in that subject. Dr. Smith is the most knowledgeable expert in that subject.
私は宿題を始めなければならないと思います。
I think I have to begin working on my homework. I think I have to begin working on my homework.
あなたに賛成のメンバーはいますか？
Do any of the members agree with you? Do any of the members agree with you?
すみませんが、駅までの道を教えてもらえませんか？
Excuse me, but will you show me the way to the station? Excuse me, but will you show me the way to the station?
どちらに置きましょうか？
Where would you like me to put this? Where would you like me to put this?
エンジニアは高度なシステムの操作方法を実演しました。
The engineer demonstrated how to operate the sophisticated system. The engineer demonstrated how to operate the sophisticated system.
もしその計画が実行不可能だと分かったら、どうしなければなりませんか？
What must be done if the plan proves unworkable? What must be done if the plan proves unworkable?
犬は水を飲んで立ち去りました。
The dog drank some water and went away. The dog drank some water and went away.
海と山、どっちが好きですか？
Which do you like better, the sea or the mountains? Which do you like better, the sea or the mountains?
ヨーロッパ旅行中に電車でスリに会いました。
While traveling in Europe, I was pickpocketed on a train. While traveling in Europe, I was pickpocketed on a train.
計画には多額のお金が必要になります。
The plan calls for a lot of money. The plan calls for a lot of money.
悪天候のため、彼らはピクニックに行けなかったです。
Bad weather discouraged them from going on a picnic. Bad weather discouraged them from going on a picnic.
電話が鳴ったら出てもらえますか？
If the telephone rings, can you answer it? If the telephone rings, can you answer it?
これは彼が自分で描いた絵です。
This is the picture of his own painting. This is the picture of his own painting.
彼の正直さに敬意を払わない人はいません。
There are none of us who do not respect his honesty. There are none of us who do not respect his honesty.
コンサートに参加した人たちは彼の演奏に驚いていました。
Those present at the concert were surprised by his performance. Those present at the concert were surprised by his performance.
子供は何かがぶつかって落ちる音を聞きました。
The child heard something fall with a crash. The child heard something fall with a crash.
リサは2部屋ある家を持っています。
Lisa has a house which has 2 rooms. Lisa has a house which has 2 rooms.
コンサートのチケットはどうやって手に入れたのですか？
How did you get tickets for the concert? How did you get tickets for the concert?
できるだけ早く出発した方がいいですよ。
You should start as early as you can. You should start as early as you can.
着いたら彼に来るように言ってあげてくださいね。
When you get there, please tell him to come. When you get there, please tell him to come.
慣れてきた今の方が好きです。
I like it better now that I'm used to it. I like it better now that I'm used to it.
マリーは私にドライブを楽しんだと言いました。
Marie told me that she enjoyed the drive. Marie told me that she enjoyed the drive.
これは私がなくしたのと同じ時計です。
This is the same watch that I've lost. This is the same watch that I've lost.
雨にもかかわらず、試合は中止になりませんでした。
In spite of the rain, the game was not cancelled. In spite of the rain, the game was not cancelled.
物件はロンダリングされた政治資金で購入されました。
The property was purchased with laundered political money. The property was purchased with laundered political money.
そのままお待ちください。彼に電話させます。
Please hang on. I'll put him on the phone. Please hang on. I'll put him on the phone.
外国人学生が英語を上手に話すのは難しいです。
It is difficult for foreign students to speak English well. It is difficult for foreign students to speak English well.
こんな美しい夕焼けは見たことがないです。
Never did I see such a beautiful sunset. Never did I see such a beautiful sunset.
生徒たちはみんな夏休みを楽しみにしていました。
The students were all looking forward to the summer vacation. The students were all looking forward to the summer vacation.
5時に空港に迎えに来てください。
Please pick me up at the airport at 5. Please pick me up at the airport at 5.
1日で終わらせるのは不可能に近いです。
It's next to impossible to finish it in a day. It's next to impossible to finish it in a day.
あなたが何と言おうと、彼は決心を変えないでしょう。
Whatever you say, he won't change his mind. Whatever you say, he won't change his mind.
その問題は難しすぎて私には解けませんでした。
The problem was too difficult for me to solve. The problem was too difficult for me to solve.
出かけようとしたとき、電話が鳴りました。
I was about to go out when the phone rang. I was about to go out when the phone rang.
その家はあまり良くないです。
The house is not in very good condition. The house is not in very good condition.
学校で過ごした時間は私にとって最も幸せな思い出の一つになるでしょう。
My time in school will be one of my happiest memories. My time in school will be one of my happiest memories.
休みの多くを国内で過ごしました。
We spent the major part of our holidays in the country. We spent the major part of our holidays in the country.
彼は橋の反対側に立っています。
He is standing at the other end of the bridge. He is standing at the other end of the bridge.
ここは空気が悪いです。窓を開けてくれませんか？
The air is bad here. Will you open the window? The air is bad here. Will you open the window?
サリーは先月からダイエットをしています。
Sally has been on a diet since last month. Sally has been on a diet since last month.
以前はここに店がありました。
There used to be a store right here. There used to be a store right here.
しかし、地震は相変わらず恐ろしいです。
But earthquakes are still as frightening as ever. But earthquakes are still as frightening as ever.
テレビの音を少し下げてくれませんか？
Would you please turn down the TV a little? Would you please turn down the TV a little?
このレポートをイタリア語にしてくれませんか？
Could you put this report into Italian for me? Could you put this report into Italian for me?
これは先日なくした鉛筆と同じです。
This is the same pencil that I lost the other day. This is the same pencil that I lost the other day.
少年は偉大な政治家に成長しました。
The boy grew up to be a great statesman. The boy grew up to be a great statesman.
それはまさに彼に期待していたことです。
That's just what one would expect of him. That's just what one would expect of him.
この小説の方が圧倒的に面白いです。
This novel is by far more interesting than that one. This novel is by far more interesting than that one.
授業に追いつくためには勉強を頑張らないといけません。
You have to study hard to catch up with your class. You have to study hard to catch up with your class.
どんなに早く歩いても追いつくことはできません。
However fast you may walk, you can't catch up with him. However fast you may walk, you can't catch up with him.
あなたが勝てば、私は家族全員のために夕食を作ります。
You win and I cook dinner for the entire family. You win and I cook dinner for the entire family.
そのお店では青果を扱っています。
They deal in fruit and vegetables at that store. They deal in fruit and vegetables at that store.
早期選挙の話は全くの憶測でした。
Talk of a quick election was pure speculation. Talk of a quick election was pure speculation.
そのプロジェクトに時間をかけましょう。
Let's put in a lot of time on that project. Let's put in a lot of time on that project.
英語をマスターするために頑張ればいいのです。
All you have to do is try hard to master English. All you have to do is try hard to master English.
その木は道路に影を投げかけました。
The tree cast a shadow across the road. The tree cast a shadow across the road.
彼女の最後の質問は彼女の他の興味についてです。
Her last question is about her other interest. Her last question is about her other interest.
ドアのそばに立っている人は有名な歌手です。
The man standing by the door is a famous singer. The man standing by the door is a famous singer.
この薬は子供の手の届くところに置いてはいけません。
This medicine must not be placed within reach of children. This medicine must not be placed within reach of children.
彼の過去の過ちを補うものは何もありません。
Nothing will make up for his past mistakes. Nothing will make up for his past mistakes.
周りが暗すぎて彼は何も見えませんでした。
Because the surroundings were so dark, he could not see anything. Because the surroundings were so dark, he could not see anything.
計画を立てたらそれを守りましょう。
Once you have a plan, you should keep to it. Once you have a plan, you should keep to it.
その国の経済状況は日に日に変化します。
That country's economic situation changes from day to day. That country's economic situation changes from day to day.
ドアに全部鍵をかけた後、私は寝ました。
After I locked all the doors, I went to bed. After I locked all the doors, I went to bed.
我が家の愛犬は一日中日向ぼっこしていました。
Our dog has been lying in the sun all day. Our dog has been lying in the sun all day.
その絵は少なくとも$1000はするでしょう。
The painting will cost at least $1,000. The painting will cost at least $1,000.
どちらかといえば我が国の経済は上向きです。
If anything, the economy in our country is going up. If anything, the economy in our country is going up.
部屋の反対側に座ります。
I sit at the other end of the room. I sit at the other end of the room.
私たちは車で街を回りました。
We took a turn around the city in our car. We took a turn around the city in our car.
どこかにホッチキスが見えませんか？
Can't you see a stapler somewhere around there? Can't you see a stapler somewhere around there?
早く走れば列車に間に合います。
If you run fast, you can catch the train. If you run fast, you can catch the train.
それは私の人生で一番辛い経験かもしれません。
That might be the most painful experience in my life. That might be the most painful experience in my life.
会ったこともなく、彼女のことは知りませんでした。
Not having seen her before, I did not know her. Not having seen her before, I did not know her.
ぜひパーティーに来てください。
You must come to the party by all means. You must come to the party by all means.
バスを待っている間に雨が止みました。
While I was waiting for our bus, the rain stopped. While I was waiting for our bus, the rain stopped.
たまたまですが、本を家に置いてきました。
As it happens, I have left the book at home. As it happens, I have left the book at home.
家族全員が車から降りました。
All the family got out of the car. All the family got out of the car.
すみませんが、今日は外出する気になれません。
I'm sorry, but I don't feel like going out today. I'm sorry, but I don't feel like going out today.
少年は腹ばいになってテレビを見ていました。
The boy was lying on his stomach watching TV. The boy was lying on his stomach watching TV.
どんなに大雪が降っても出発しなければなりません。
I must start no matter how heavily it snows. I must start no matter how heavily it snows.
ティムにはユーモアのセンスがないのが残念です。
It's a pity that Tim has no sense of humor. It's a pity that Tim has no sense of humor.
あなたがジャズが嫌いな理由がわかりません。
I can't figure out why you don't like jazz. I can't figure out why you don't like jazz.
ダウは35ポイント急落してそこを打ちました。
35 points and then bottomed out. 35 points and then bottomed out.
この建物は国家遺産として残すべきです。
This building should be kept as a national heritage. This building should be kept as a national heritage.
スピーカーは拳でテーブルを叩きました。
The speaker banged the table with his fist. The speaker banged the table with his fist.
どうしてメアリーは彼とピクニックに行くの？
How come Mary is going on a picnic with him? How come Mary is going on a picnic with him?
多くの場合、飢饉は疫病を伴います。
More often than not, famine is accompanied by plague. More often than not, famine is accompanied by plague.
ソニアはとても楽しそうな表情をしていました。
Sonia had a very amused look on her face. Sonia had a very amused look on her face.
このようなエラーは二度と起こらないことを保証します。
I assure you that an error like this will never happen again. I assure you that an error like this will never happen again.
いつ発送してもらえますか？
I'd like to know when you can send it out. I'd like to know when you can send it out.
スピーチの最後に彼女はその言葉を繰り返しました。
At the end of the speech, she repeated the word. At the end of the speech, she repeated the word.
先生は英語はもちろんのこと、フランス語も上手です。
The teacher speaks good French, not to mention English. The teacher speaks good French, not to mention English.
ダイヤモンドの硬さはガラスをカットできるくらいの硬さです。
The hardness of a diamond is such that it can cut glass. The hardness of a diamond is such that it can cut glass.
トムはどの仕事でもいつも良い仕事をしてきました。
Tom has always done well in every job he has had. Tom has always done well in every job he has had.
駅近で生活するにはとても便利です。
It is a great convenience to live near a station. It is a great convenience to live near a station.
昨日窓を壊したのは彼でした。
It was him that broke the window yesterday. It was him that broke the window yesterday.
合格できる可能性があります。
The chances are that you can pass the test. The chances are that you can pass the test.
牛はこの国では他のどの動物よりも重宝されています。
Cows are more useful than any other animal in this country. Cows are more useful than any other animal in this country.
何事にも自分の思い通りにはならないでしょう。
You shall not have your own way in everything. You shall not have your own way in everything.
彼はアメリカ経由でヨーロッパへ行きました。
He went to Europe by way of America. He went to Europe by way of America.
この薬は正しく使えば大いに効きます。
This medicine, properly used, will do you a lot of good. This medicine, properly used, will do you a lot of good.
計画が意味のあるものであることに全員が同意しました。
We all agreed that the plan made sense. We all agreed that the plan made sense.
どのようにやっても結果は同じです。
However you do it, the result will be the same. However you do it, the result will be the same.
私たちは酸素が不足するとあくびをします。
We yawn when we are short of oxygen. We yawn when we are short of oxygen.
木々が立ち並ぶ通りからは海の見える景色が広がっていました。
The street, lined with trees, provided a vista of the sea. The street, lined with trees, provided a vista of the sea.
おっしゃることは理解していますが、同意できません。
While I understand what you say, I can't agree with you. While I understand what you say, I can't agree with you.
こんなに悲惨な映画は初めて見ました。
This is the first time I've seen such a dreadful movie. This is the first time I've seen such a dreadful movie.
話が複雑すぎてついていけなかったです。
The story was so complicated that I couldn't follow it. The story was so complicated that I couldn't follow it.
前にその映画を見たことがあったので退屈していました。
I was bored because I had seen the movie before. I was bored because I had seen the movie before.
姉は去年の6月に高校の先生と結婚しました。
My sister married a high school teacher last June. My sister married a high school teacher last June.
私たちは今年の夏はひどい水不足に苦しんでいます。
We are suffering from a severe water shortage this summer. We are suffering from a severe water shortage this summer.
あなたは自分の能力を最大限に活用すべきです。
You should make the most of your ability. You should make the most of your ability.
ここからそこまで車で1時間です。
It is an hour's drive from here to there. It is an hour's drive from here to there.
私はジョンに時計を修理してもらうつもりです。
I am going to have John repair my watch. I am going to have John repair my watch.
映画で泣くのはあなたらしくないです。
It's not like you to cry at movies. It's not like you to cry at movies.
あなたは本当に好奇心旺盛ですね。
You are really full of curiosity, aren't you? You are really full of curiosity, aren't you?
昨夜は起きている間に家に泥棒が入ってきました。
Last night my house was robbed while I was still awake. Last night my house was robbed while I was still awake.
あの騒音にはもう我慢できません。
I can't put up with that noise any longer. I can't put up with that noise any longer.
アクセントから判断すると、彼はテキサス出身に違いありません。
Judging from his accent, he must be from Texas. Judging from his accent, he must be from Texas.
泥棒は警官を見て逃げました。
The thief ran away at the sight of a policeman. The thief ran away at the sight of a policeman.
これだけのお金を使うのは言語道断です。
It is outrageous that you should spend so much money. It is outrageous that you should spend so much money.
あなたと一緒にパーティーに行けるといいのですが。
I wish I could go to the party with you. I wish I could go to the party with you.
販売キャンペーンが大成功しています。
Our sales campaign is successful in a big way. Our sales campaign is successful in a big way.
なぜありのままを受け止められないのですか？
Why can't you take things just as they are? Why can't you take things just as they are?
一体どうやってそんなことをしたのですか？
How in the world did you do such a thing? How in the world did you do such a thing?
トムはクラスのどの生徒よりも努力家です。
Tom is more hardworking than any other student in his class. Tom is more hardworking than any other student in his class.
家にいるよりは出かけた方がいいです。
I may as well go out than stay at home. I may as well go out than stay at home.
その町には病院が一つしかないです。
There is only one hospital in the town. There is only one hospital in the town.
バス停へ行く道を教えてください。
Show me the way to the bus stop. Show me the way to the bus stop.
遠くから見ると島が雲のように見えました。
Viewed from a distance, the island looked like a cloud. Viewed from a distance, the island looked like a cloud.
買い戻すのに5ポンドもかかりました。
It cost him £5 to buy it back. It cost him £5 to buy it back.
その頃、世界中が飢えていました。
At that time, the whole world was hungry. At that time, the whole world was hungry.
あなたが助けてくれなかったら、私は失敗していたでしょう。
If you had not helped me, I would have failed. If you had not helped me, I would have failed.
事実を確認してから書いた方がいいですよ。
You should make sure of the facts before you write something. You should make sure of the facts before you write something.
面倒でなければ何か協力してほしいです。
If it's not too much trouble, I would like some help. If it's not too much trouble, I would like some help.
彼女は待ちに待ったけど、彼は戻りませんでした。
She waited and waited, but he never returned. She waited and waited, but he never returned.
この部屋は暑すぎて仕事にならないです。
This room is too hot for us to work in. This room is too hot for us to work in.
新しい帽子がとても似合っていますね。
Your new hat is very becoming on you. Your new hat is very becoming on you.
雲が開き、太陽が差し込んできました。
The clouds opened and the sun shone through. The clouds opened and the sun shone through.
花瓶を割ってしまったことをお詫びしなければなりません。
I must apologize to you for breaking the vase. I must apologize to you for breaking the vase.
この大きな門は小さな庭には不釣り合いです。
This big gate is disproportionate to the small garden. This big gate is disproportionate to the small garden.
ラスベガスで週末を過ごしませんか？
Would you like a weekend in Las Vegas? Would you like a weekend in Las Vegas?
その計画は長期的には失敗するでしょうね。
That plan will probably fail in the long run. That plan will probably fail in the long run.
年老いた医師は患者さん一人一人に丁寧に対応してくれました。
The old doctor gave individual attention to each patient. The old doctor gave individual attention to each patient.
屋根の上にこのアンテナを設置すると鮮明な画像が得られます。
You'll get a clear picture with this antenna on the roof. You'll get a clear picture with this antenna on the roof.
その家は変わった形をしていて目立っていました。
The house stood out because of its unusual shape. The house stood out because of its unusual shape.
もちろん、いくつかの点で似ています。
Of course, they resemble each other in some ways. Of course, they resemble each other in some ways.
彼はその理由で会合に出席しませんでした。
He did not attend the meeting for that reason. He did not attend the meeting for that reason.
2年前に亡くなったことを知らなかったのですか？
Didn't you know that he passed away 2 years ago? Didn't you know that he passed away 2 years ago?
危ない。道路に穴が開いています。
Look out! There's a hole in the road. Look out! There's a hole in the road.
空気と水がなければ何も生きられません。
If it were not for air and water, nothing could live. If it were not for air and water, nothing could live.
地球の表面の3分の1は砂漠です。
1/3 of the Earth's surface is desert. 1/3 of the Earth's surface is desert.
外国語ではなかなか落ち着きません。
It's difficult to feel at home in a foreign language. It's difficult to feel at home in a foreign language.
新しいホテルは宿泊客からの提案を募りました。
The new hotel invited suggestions from the guests. The new hotel invited suggestions from the guests.
この通りを2ブロック行って左に曲がってください。
Go 2 blocks along this street and turn left. Go 2 blocks along this street and turn left.
新婚夫婦は手をつないで歩きました。
The newly married couple walked hand in hand. The newly married couple walked hand in hand.
アメリカの首都はどこですか？
What is the capital of the United States? What is the capital of the United States?
4月のある晴れた日、私は散歩に出かけました。
One sunny day in April, I went out for a walk. One sunny day in April, I went out for a walk.
には1年を通して気温が均一です。
This country has an even temperature throughout the year. This country has an even temperature throughout the year.
この辺の凸凹道は本当に運転しづらいですね。
It's really hard to drive on the bumpy roads around here. It's really hard to drive on the bumpy roads around here.
ケイトは先生の講義がつまらなくて退屈で終わりがないと思っていました。
Kate thought the teacher's lecture was dull, boring, and endless. Kate thought the teacher's lecture was dull, boring, and endless.
あなたが駅で会った人は私の父です。
The man you met at the station is my father. The man you met at the station is my father.
私はよく湖にスケートに行ったものです。
I would often go skating on the lake. I would often go skating on the lake.
その会社には独自の病院が3つあります。
The company has 3 hospitals of its own. The company has 3 hospitals of its own.
その法律によって私たちは年金を受け取ることができます。
The law enables us to receive an annuity. The law enables us to receive an annuity.
もっと食べないとすぐに良くなりませんよ。
You should eat more, or you won't get well soon. You should eat more, or you won't get well soon.
この単語はどういう意味ですか？
Can you tell me what this word means? Can you tell me what this word means?
ビルは特別賞に選ばれました。
Bill was singled out for a special award. Bill was singled out for a special award.
どっちに行くかかなり途方に暮れていました。
We were quite at a loss which way to go. We were quite at a loss which way to go.
メンドリは巣の中の卵の上に座っていました。
The hen was sitting on the eggs in the nest. The hen was sitting on the eggs in the nest.
アメリカ映画はどこの国のものよりも人気があります。
American films are more popular than those of any other country. American films are more popular than those of any other country.
このプロジェクトについてあなたの意見を述べてください。
Please state your opinion with relation to this project. Please state your opinion with relation to this project.
少しでもお役に立てれば幸いです。
I hope I can be of some help to you. I hope I can be of some help to you.
あの魚は集団で旅をするんですよね。
That fish travels in a group, don't they? That fish travels in a group, don't they?
誰かがこのお金を持って行ったに違いないと突然思いました。
It suddenly struck us that somebody must have taken this money. It suddenly struck us that somebody must have taken this money.
ケイトはその大きな犬を見て驚きました。
Kate was frightened to see the big dog. Kate was frightened to see the big dog.
ジムは車の運転の仕方を習っています。
Jim is learning how to drive a car. Jim is learning how to drive a car.
バス停を見つけるのに苦労しました。
We had much difficulty in finding the bus stop. We had much difficulty in finding the bus stop.
私はあなたが無事に帰ってきて嬉しいです。
I am glad that you have returned safe. I am glad that you have returned safe.
彼らがその家を建てるのに2年かかりました。
It took them 2 years to build the house. It took them 2 years to build the house.
その会社はすべての大都市に支店があります。
The company has branches in all large cities. The company has branches in all large cities.
この地図のどこにいるのか教えてくれますか？
Can you tell me where I am on this map? Can you tell me where I am on this map?